The UK fisheries is sacrificed for a trade deal, the Liberal Democrats are to vote for no-deal Brexit, and 6 Labour MPs are to resign from the shadow cabinet. Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. We've had time to have a look at the Brexit trade deal, and it's a bit of a tricky situation, specifically when it comes to the fishing industry. Now, I've seen a lot of articles and YouTube videos around. One side are going with this is the best deal in the history of the world, this is free trade, and the other side are saying this is the end of the world, we're going to die, it's a sellout, it's the worst situation than even when we're a member of the EU. Both sides are wrong, and I'm going to try my best to be objective in this video. There had to be a bit of a compromise. It's quite tricky because the UK fisheries as an industry has now been sacrificed, at least short to medium term. And the UK government are responsible for this, and they have to make sure that they support the industry in the next 5 years. I'm going to explain why. Specifically because with this messed up negotiations that they had, the UK fisheries need a lot of support, but also depends on who's going to be in charge of government. If the Labour Party is in charge in the next 5 years, anything could happen, and we could actually have a situation where the EU fleets could still come into our country. Now, in this video, I'm going to give you some sort of details of what's going on with the fisheries, but also the rest of the deal, but also talk about how the Liberal Democrats are going to vote against the deal, and 6 Labour MPs are going to resign from Sir Keir Starmer's shadow cabinet. But first, UK fisheries and also the Federation have come out to comment on this deal, especially from the perspective of their industry. The chief executive, Jane Sandal, has said that we are pleased that the UK-EU deal will bring some kind of certainty to parts of our industry. But then she's still quite concerned about the amount and the number of fish between the two sides, who's going to catch what. She continues by saying that the government must now urgently turn its attention to striking a good deal with Norway and other third countries if we are to be able to fish in the distant waters from 2021. So she's absolutely right. We are going to have a deal with Norway soon on fishing as well, which is absolutely perfect. The problem that we have is that as an industry, the UK fisheries has been very weakened in the last few decades, thanks to the arrangement that we had with the European Union since the 70s. And what we have to do is the next 5 years, 5.5 years, we're going to have a transition period. It's not going to be business as usual. We are cutting 25% of what the European Union vessels were actually catching. But what we have to do until then, that really shows how much the government care or don't. Now, Martin Daubney, who was the Brexit MEP previously, has also obviously gone through the deal as well. He's talking about how there are 87 species of fish subject to shared EU-UK quotas. Now, across them all, the UK gets average of 33.6% of the quotas. After the Brexit deal, that's going to increase to 35.92%. That's an increase of 2.32% for the UK side. It's a tiny percentage, but it's a transition period. They're supposed to be phasing it out. But that's the tricky part of the deal, because there's no guarantee, depending on who's going to be in government and depending on what arrangement we're going to have. There's going to be an annual discussion after the transition period. Every year they're going to get together to find out what they're supposed to be doing with the fish. Now, this deal itself has been quite interesting going through it, because the majority of parts of the deal, whether it's the level playing field, the actual trading goods and everything else, it's pretty good in terms on balance. Nothing's perfect, but they had to give up something, and they gave up fisheries. But again, not permanently. Short to medium term, they have to fix this. Now, on fisheries itself, the problem we have. So the 1 to 5 and 1 to 6 points are talking about how the agreement provides a significant uplift in quota for UK fisheries, 25% extra, cutting 25% of what the EU were catching. This is worth £146 million for the UK fleet's phase in over 5 years. So over 5 years, not really much. And the problem that we have is that over the next 5 years, we have to they're supposed to be phasing out the EU's access, but they're going to have an annual discussion to find out what we want to do. The good thing about this arrangement, so we criticized what we gave up, but on balance, 131 points, the talks about how the agreement can be terminated at any point with 9 months' notice. If the agreement is terminated, any obligations of the parties will continue until the end of the year. So this is why I say, on balance, the deal isn't disastrous on this issue, because it's quite different to, for example, signing a treaty where you are fully tied to something permanently, or like being a member of the EU. You can't really change your mind. You can't really change your situation. But actually, in this case, we have some sort of leeway, and we have some situation where if you elect a better, politician, a better prime minister or something, if you want to change the party, depending on who's in government, we can rearrange the whole thing. So that's not too bad. And actually, this has created a situation where overall, for the deal, with this sacrifice, the level playing field and fair competition, which exists, which is the same thing with what we have with Japan and Australia and Canada, but is not necessarily what the European Union wanted. So in this declaration, in the 2019 political declaration, both sides wanted to have some sort of balance. But now the system that has been agreed upon does not compromise the UK's sovereignty in any area, and does not involve the European Court of Justice in any way. So that's the biggest point. So the level playing field in terms of the standards, it still exists. We have to respect the EU's standards, and they have to respect our standards as well. But that's the same situation we have with Australia, Canada, South Korea, Japan, and many other countries that we are signing a trade deal with. That's just how countries do trade deals these days. Luckily, we didn't go with political alignment and in terms of level playing field what the European Union wanted, which was you have to go with our standards, with Brussels, up to a point where you have to give up your sovereignty. You won't be able to trade with other countries, because if we were to sign a trade deal with Japan, then we have to tell Japan that, so you have to follow the EU's rules because we are following the EU's rules, so you're going to have to do the same. And Japan would say, well, I'm not going to do that. I mean, Japan is specifically different because they can't do it, but there will be a lot of other countries that don't have an arrangement with the European Union, and they'll kick off. So this is, on balance, it's not too bad. On the other hand, we're going to get back to this on this channel on a daily basis to give you more updates, and I'm going to interview some people from the fishing industry, because while we're sacrificing this thing for at least short to medium term, the government needs to invest a lot of money. At this point, even as a classical liberal, free marketeer conservative, right now I'm saying no, spend money. Government needs to throw money at the industry to save it for the next 5.5 years. Now, the Labour Party are doing really well in this situation. 6 of the front benchers are going to be potentially resigning from the shadow cabinet because Sir Keir Starmer had decided to vote for the deal without even reading it. And he's obviously he's whipping the MPs to vote for it. He's going to force the MPs to vote for it. So Labour are not doing too well. But this guy, Ed Davey, is the leader of the Liberal Democrats, that the other party that exists somehow. He's against the deal. He wants to vote against the deal for WTO Brexit.
This deal is a bad deal for the British people.
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
Boris Johnson's last-minute, threadbare deal puts up barriers to trade, barriers to business, making it harder and more expensive for British firms to export, with extra delays and bureaucracy at our ports.
See, that's my problem with the left-wing Remainers, who are going with the whole, well, no, there are barriers. There will be barriers to trade because there will be bureaucracy and paperwork and delays. No, there won't be delays. It's just you just create a new situation, new bureaucracy, which I don't like. But the irony of these people, the massive ironic point is the fact that the Labour Party and the Liberal Democrats and all the other left-wing parties domestically, they are always in favour of bureaucracy and paperwork and red tape. Suddenly, they're against bureaucracy. I mean, what is going on? So, ironically, I don't think the Liberal Democrat voters actually are following what Ed Davey is actually saying. But we have another hypocrite. So, Nicola Sturgeon is back. So, the SNP initially, until a couple of weeks ago, was saying that if the UK used the Royal Navy to protect the fisheries, we'll block the Royal Navy in favor of the European Union and their vessels. Now she's saying Boris Johnson is selling out the fishing industry. Make up your mind, Nicola. What is happening? So these are all political point scoring. So everything that you've been seeing, all these comments, all these opinions on the deal coming from politicos, ignore them, both sides, because it's nonsense. Everything is political point scoring. It's not being objective. Everyone is emotional. Everyone wants to either support their side or attack the other side who don't like. The Boris fans will defend the deal because it's the best deal. People who don't like Boris or don't trust Boris anymore are like, oh, well, sell out, obviously. Nonsense. Everybody calm down. Be objective. This is not perfect. It's a bit of a messed up situation, but it's the best deal that we could have gone at this point. So, and definitely do not listen to Nicola Sturgeon or Davey or Starmer on this issue. Thanks again for watching. In the next video, we're going to talk about Sadiq Khan and a number of other hypocrites. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Become a member if you want to take part in our daily video calls that we're going to do for the next while. And we're going to have a lot of other benefits and perks for the members of the channel. Thanks again for watching. I'm Tousi, and I'll see you guys in the next video.